You.
Wayno's having a little Whitney Houston sing-along.
Yes.
What's going on, guys? We're back. Everyday Struggle, Nadeska, Wayno and Akademiks
What is the name
here.
of that song? I know that song, but I don't know the name of it.
I think he's having karaoke hour and shit before
I have
the show
nothing.
starts.
I have nothing by Whitney Houston. Is one of the fucking greatest songs ever created, yo.
Today's December 4th. I feel
I
like
think
you're
it's
singing.
full of superlatives, yo. Jay-Z got the best verse of the year, even though that Whitney song is fire.
That's one of the best
rest in
songs
peace.
ever.
Hey, guys. It's
Who starts at 6 o'clock singing Whitney, yo?
Me, nigga. I feel good
Christ.
right now. I feel good. I don't knock you for how you make yourself feel good.
Pause.
Good one. Good one. He's finally learning.
Wayno, it's December 4th. What's good?
It's Jay-Z's birthday.
Happy
it's
birthday.
an international motherfucking holiday
To
out
Hov.
here, you
That's
feel
I'm
me?
surprised you're singing Whitney and not like giving us some J bars today.
Not some hard knock life or some shit.
Right?
Nah, man, I don't know
Excuse
why.
you.
I don't know what made me think of Whitney Houston, but I just
How
really
old
wanted
is
to hear
Jay?
that song.
It's 49.
49.
49?
Yeah.
Man,
So-
Jay gonna be the first ever relevant 50-year-old rapper next year.
Mm.
That's true, though.
All right, there goes Akademiks' birthday wishes,
hot take,
as
right?
always.
Nah, that's dope. Like,
Yeah.
I really salute that.
The Godfather, for
I
real.
think he makes it cool to get old every year.
Yeah.
Like it makes it cool to get older and still be relevant in hip hop every year. You know?
I think it makes it cool to just pave the way to grow. You get
Yeah.
me? Like, just not be the corny nigga who's still trying to hang on to what you used to have. You know what I mean? I like watching his business moves.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Blueprint.
Happy
That's what he
birthday,
meant.
Jay-Z.
Happy birthday, Jay-Z, and happy birthday to Chinks. Chinks Drugs' birthday is today, I believe, as
Word,
well.
rest in
Yeah.
peace.
R.I.P.
I think Chinks Drugs' birthday is today. Yeah. So rest in peace to Chinks. Salute to his family. That was another good guy that could have went places, but
Yeah.
let's appreciate him for what he gave us.
Indeed. All right, y'all, let's get into some music. So many albums, so little time. All right, so last week
I
you
feel
got...
like we're a review show now.
I
There's
know,
so
I
much
don't-
albums. Like, I ain't
So
gonna lie to y'all.
tired.
I gotta tell y'all the audience. After Monday, I don't want to review a fucking single album. Like, I like, we could talk about music in general, but we going now track by track.
You want to
Jesus
skip
Christ.
these two? We could just give quick thoughts on these two and then get
I don't know.
into
Yeah,
the
we'll
other
get some quick
stuff.
thoughts because I do want to highlight. There's so much music coming out.
Yeah.
You know, like we look like almost dick riders if we only talk about Meek and Lil Baby. There's also other good albums that drop. So
All right, so he does want to do the album reviews. That's good news. Let's start with Ski Mask. That cool? All right, so
Yeah,
Ski Mask dropped his debut album, Stokeley, last Friday. 13 songs, features from Lil Baby, Yachty, Juice WRLD, and more. This is the follow-up to Beware the Book of Eli, which he released in May 2018. Akademiks, standout project for you?
I want to hear what Wayno says.
Well, what,
Wayno,
That's
you up
fine.
first.
That's fine. I'll definitely go first. All right,
tried.
so
He
nah,
tried.
I'm
You
gonna keep it
tried.
on. I tried. Nah, I'm gonna keep it on. I tried. I tried. Like, I've tried to give
That's
like
a meme.
Ski
I
Mask.
tried. Like,
I tried.
What does that mean?
Let me explain, nigga. Damn. All right, so I've tried to give Ski Mask his music listens a few times, and I can't really get into it, you know. And the thing that I did like from him is when he did the Missy freestyle. But like listening to his music, I don't know if right now hearing it after hearing Meek and Baby and all of that, and I'm hearing this last, if that's affecting me because I just want to feel a certain way. I want to be motivated, and his music doesn't like really speak to me much. You know, when I tried to listen to it, the only song that I really was fucking with off of here, I could say, is La and Nuketown. You know what I mean? Like that, those are the only ones I can really get into. But other than that, I've been giving them listens. It's just not doing nothing for me.
I'm surprised you would say that. Like, yo, he be rapping. Like, his flow sometimes is a little bit unorthodox. And if you follow Ski Mask and you're like really in tune with like members only, like, I mean, him, X, and a couple other guys, they kind of have that similar like flow. That's the pocket that they're in. Sometimes it might come across like, damn, you're doing too much. Or sometimes it might be like, yo, this is one of the new guys who actually care about lyrics because he is rapping. I did like a bunch of joints off here. I was actually surprised. I, compared to his previous works, it was a bunch of times I listened to like even the Book of Eli, and I was like Ski, I know you a little bit better than this. You get me in terms of what I'm hearing. No, not only lyrically, but just like with him, we know he can rap, but you got to learn to make a song.
Right.
You feel me? And I remember listening to those joints. I'm like all you're showing us is this one flow that you're really good at and you're known for. And yeah, you can show it over different beats, but like it's not really doing anything. I feel like this time around, like he tried to make a better effort. I'm judging him off him.
Okay.
So if I'm coming from the Book of Eli and I'm listening to this, I see progression.
Okay.
I love the joint with him and Juice WRLD. You know, like it's not traditional rap like you see how Meek gets down. Clearly not.
And I don't want to hold him to that, like, because I also don't want people to think that I'm the person that only listens to one type of music, because that's not true. It's just listening to him, I've never really just been able to get into his music much, you know. And maybe I haven't heard everything. You know?
And I'm not knocking you for it at all, because you know what, like, artists like him, I think he has to grow on you. Or you kind of have to learn his space, and you maybe find like those couple joints you really fuck with, because some of these joints, like, like, think about this mix, lyrical screamo, like, that's what it is. Like,
screamo?
Yeah, you know, screamo is like a genre, like, these niggas just be screaming and shit, right? Like,
I didn't know that, right? Yeah.
Since when?
Y'all
I'm
know
not even joking. I'm
no,
not
no.
even joking.
I never heard
didn't know-
I
didn't
never
know
heard that term
was, like,
before.
yeah,
Well,
me neither.
that's not like a hip hop thing. That's like, you know, those other people.
Okay, all right.
They be like, like
Metal,
all of that.
like metal, like kind of.
Yeah, kind of that. Yeah, right. And you know, like of course, at least where he comes from, and also like, you know, him and X were like this. They do these alternative other genres along with hip hop. Yeah. And when I'm listening to it, you hear someone who's lyrical, but then he's going into other shit. Like, you can hear it on Newtown.
Okay.
And again, it might throw you off a little bit, because if you're like, all right, this guy's rapping, well, what the fuck is he sounding like this? So again, I've learned to like accept it, and I've learned to get used to it. I'm not gonna lie, if I'm listening to like 5 Lil Baby and Meek songs and this come, I'm like, whoa, wait, who turned a dial? Like, get it. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm judging him off him, and I think sometimes we don't judge people off themselves.
Right.
Okay.
And because I have prior experience with his music, I'm gonna judge him off himself. And I'm gonna say, to be honest, this is really good. You know, like, me and my close couple friends, they actually was like, yo, to be honest, this is probably one of the most underrated tapes to come out this weekend.
Right.
Because Meek, we all gonna give him praise. Shit's
right.
great. Lil Baby, you always gonna get that look. You get me? And a lot of people win for Earl. But Stokeley, which it was pretty anticipated within his fan base, I don't think people outside of that are even looking at it to say, yo, this is not that bad. This is kind of like dope. I mean, especially from a new artist.
Well, you seen, like, you know, with Trippy, I really wasn't into the first album that had dropped early, and then the second one I actually liked it. So I'll definitely keep, you know, listening. I might need to go back to the last one and just hear more, because every time I give it like maybe 1 or 2 songs, and then after that I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna listen to the rest, but I'll give them some more tries on the previous work.
Yeah, one thing I'll say, Ski and even Trippy, like, because they sound so, most of these new niggas, like, they sound so non-traditional.
Yo, it's so alternative rock. Like, no one remembers that era. It's crazy. It's like around the Linkin Park time.
I know.
I feel like that's just where they're moving.
Yeah,
as far as rap,
trap,
though,
Yeah, well, this pocket of kids, yeah.
And for me, I just try to judge them on themselves, because it's like, we get the people who are really mainstream and who are really like traditional that we are gonna love. But like, it's hard to like really give a legit and fair review of these dudes if you're not like comparing them to what they're doing, because they're like going in the path less traveled. Like, this shit, I don't want to hear a lyricist do some like heavy metal lyricism. Like, it's just crazy. You get me? But salute to Ski Mask, yo. I enjoyed his project. Actually, I got a couple songs of his and Meek and Baby on
Cloud Tokens?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dope.
This is going to be interesting for the will.I.am topic, because he has some strong feelings about hip-hop right now, and the genre is evolving a lot, so we're going to get to that in a few. But first, my guy Earl
What
Sweatshirt.
will.I.am gotta say? I can't wait to hear. I said, what will.I.am gotta say? I can't wait to hear.
Earl Sweatshirt, so he dropped a new project called Some Rap Songs. This is 15 songs. They're very short, by the way. There's features from his mother and his late father on this. It's his first album in 3 years. Since I Don't Like That Shit, I Don't Go Outside, an album by Earl Sweatshirt. He does have incredible titles.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Earl's big return?
Well, so for Earl, I think I got spoiled by Our Future years ago, right? And what I mean by that is, you know how some artists keep a consistency of how like they first come out for a bit. Earl came out, then he got shipped to the the school. He was gone for a bit. Tyler took over, always campaigned for him, and then when he came back, he dropped Doris, which I felt like was kind of underwhelming in comparison to Earl. And then the last one, I didn't even know that another album had came out. Like, seriously, I didn't even know another album came out. And then I checked out this one, and it's kind of it kind of throws me off a bit because the songs are so short.
Right.
But what I do like about this a lot is the flows, because a lot of people don't know that Earl Sweatshirt, one of his favorite rappers is Styles P, and you can hear a lot of like just cadences of how he raps on there. So overall, like it's cool, but I miss that Earl Sweatshirt.
Right. It seems like he's been through a lot in the past few years. Because during that era, a lot of people thought he was probably the best lyricist out of the whole team.
Oh, they was calling him like the next Nas because of his delivery.
Very
and,
talented, yeah.
It's a lot of pressure until that was ridiculous because I remember, not ridiculous, but like he was getting a lot of praise and then his mama grounded him. Like, yo, no more internet.
Well, also,
that was
the whole
ridiculous.
investigation happened and they leaked all his personal stuff. Remember all of that?
Which investigation?
I don't want to talk too much because we might work for the same company. They went and investigated where he was. Remember, he didn't like that they went and found where he was and everything. So, yeah, anyway.
He was like in a boarding school in Samoa or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think it caused some issues like with his family and everything like that. But anyway.
I thought he got grounded.
Back to the music, Ak.
Right.
No, I liked it. I'm not gonna lie. This is a little bit more of a chore for me to listen to. Definitely, you know, I get why if you see somebody who's like a couple of years ago, he was like 14 or something or whatever. How old is he now?
Like 24.
He gotta be like 24, 25.
Okay, so
by
back
now,
then he was like 16. Whatever,
like 7 years ago is when Our Future first came out.
Okay.
So that's like, I say he has to be at least like 24, 25, the oldest.
All right, but when he was real young, I completely understand why like everyone would be like champion him as like if you have mastered the extreme levels of lyricism at that age, who knows what you're gonna be when you hit 30.
Well,
and listen to this project, like I hear it throughout. I'm not gonna lie, the song's gonna catch me though. I'm not gonna sit here, like I love the rapping on it, but am I gonna be going back to these joints? Like for me, this is how I look at stuff. To be fair, and for the audience who always be like, I don't like that. Listen, you gotta give me a perfect mix. Or you gotta give me somewhat of a balanced mix, right? If you got some dope lyrics, make the song a little bit cool too, that I could go back to because I'll go back for the song, I'll be impressed by the lyrics. And I heard a lot of, like he was rapping really good, but I'm not gonna lie, maybe it's because it was short.
Yeah, a lot of them joints are really short.
I can't say it's whack, but I can say that I'm gonna be going back and playing it.
Yo, I just really like, and not to take any, because he's growing and he's becoming a man, and not to take anything from him, but I liked him a lot when he was a goofball. Yeah. Like seriously, I liked him when they was just the kids on Fairfax skating, setting shit on fire and doing crazy videos. You know, I really like that.
They were doing crimes, Wayno?
Huh?
You liked them when they were doing crimes?
I never said anybody did a crime. I said setting shit on fire that could be a candle.
That could be a candle, okay.
Lawyer Wayno. Wayno Esquire.
But I mean, and I felt like I really got spoiled at that time, and you know, because he went away and then he came back, it was a span of time of maybe a year and a half, 2 years with that limbo. I never really got a chance to get that Earl, you know, and with him, I think the reason why, you know, he's so good with words, his dad was a poet. You know what I mean, his dad was a poet. I think his mom is a teacher. So he's always had like a high level of education, and he puts it into the music. What was really crazy when he first came out was for everybody he was amongst. I mean, the Tacos, the Left Brains, the Mellow Hype. Our Future as a collective, he was the one that was the best spitter, and they was like, oh shit. In all of that madness, there is one guy that kind of reminds us of some of the old shit. So I could see why the pressure came, but I don't think that he just didn't live up to it. In a few interviews, he said that he just was going through a lot of things.
It's true.
And by the way, salute to him, you know, like moments, I could imagine him putting on his late father on this project. You know, that's big. That's big. And I could tell, like, just me looking at all these tracks, hearing it, also seeing some of the moments he decided to share publicly, I could tell it meant a lot to him. So, you know what, like, by the way, he's projected to do about like 30,000, and, you know what I mean, I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
That's good.
Rooting for you, Earl. We want more music.
Absolutely.
So
I ain't gonna front with some music with him and Tyler again. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know where the relationship is at, but I would love to hear some music with him and Tyler again.
I think we all, like, you know, it's that nostalgia thing too. Like, we want that collective to be back, just what you said. We want that collective to be back together, kind of being what we remember, just fun. But even though these guys, they've grown up. Yeah. And sometimes when you grow, sometimes you even separate.
Absolutely.
And you find yourself. But, you know, we want that shit.
Side note, we don't talk about R&B enough on this show,
but
if we got to talk about the extended Our Future family, the internet has been out here killing it. Hive Mind is a great album that came out this year. Ego Death, phenomenal album. It's a couple years old already, right? Yeah. We never talk about R&B. I'm gonna have to do a whole R&B segment, just top picks for the year.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna throw this in the air. Nadeska been dying to talk about R&B. Like, I could tell she been dying. Actually, ever since we started Everyday Struggle. Listen,
But
you want to have
never
it.
listen to this shit, so I'll be just talking about
All right,
myself.
all right. I'm
Well, I
giving
mean,
you-
Sid.
if you want to, we could do an R&B episode. I'll be the moderator.
Look at him.
You be the
No,
moderator?
I'll be the
We're
moderator.
gonna sit act right
I'll be
here.
the
You sit right
moderator.
here.
You and Wayno could debate over her and him or whatever it is.
Hey, put some
And-
respect on her. Like, she's fire.
Okay.
This
all
is
right.
gonna be his moderation. Just
Right,
shading,
and
shading
Black.
everybody.
Caesar,
You know what I mean?
Black.
Add Black and, you know what I
Hey.
mean? SZA, Daniel Caesar. Salute
Okay.
to him. That's my guy.
He's
you
fire.
get me?
Right.
Well,
Look at all the names I've taught you.
Hey,
I'm so
yeah, you
impressed.
know,
he
some
follows
shit.
me. That's my guy.
Okay.
Academics.
I know you can't wait to have like a little debate about that. If we ever
listen.
bring up like R&B, she will literally lose it. Just look at her eyes.
Lose it. There's just such good music out, and we only talk about rap.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't be so much of a debate, but it'd be more of a discussion.
Yeah,
You know,
there's
it'd
a
be
lot
more
of
a
people.
discussion.
No Name dropped a great album this year as well. We haven't spoken about.
Hey, I read like an article about like people. They were talking about what this new wave of like R&B is, and I don't know. It was very interesting. I think we should bring it up another time.
Wow, look at Ak.
For real,
It's
Act
been-
I'm always reading.
Act
yo.
out here reading.
I'm always. Hey, I love think pieces.
Okay.
You know, salute to anyone who makes like think pieces about like hip hop or just music in general.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it introduces thoughts or ideas that I never thought about, and then it makes me think, and I started doing research. I like that.
You're a sponge, Ak. I love it.
Pause.
All right.
You're a sponge.
He's been hanging around me
Like
too
I'm
long.
soaking everything up. Like
He
what's
doesn't
wrong with
even
her?
know when to pause correctly, bro.
That's not a pause.
I don't think so. Wayno?
50-50.
Nah.
50-50.
All right. Let's do a couple of Chance songs, and then we get. Are we at will.I.am yet? I just want to get to this topic already. All right. So Chance also survives fans. No project from him, but he did drop 2 new songs last week. One called "The Man Who Has Everything" and "My Own Thing." So you put these on Twitter and on his website. One is featuring Joey Perp. Let's listen to "The Man Who Has Everything."
What to get the man who has everything? Trying to fit myself into a schedule and a wedding ring. Trying to eat everything. I was raised to come across my plate, then I better swing. Trying to turn Confederate flags into Confederate strings.
All right, so remember he dropped those 4 songs back in July. He's been working on this project with Kanye forever. We don't really have an update, and it's been 2 years since we got Coloring Book. A little bit over 2 years, actually.
God damn.
Yeah, 2016. Time is really flying.
Yeah, it's moving.
Yeah,
along.
so
Yo, you ever think about things and be like, yo, shit, that was like a year ago?
feels
and
like
it was
that.
in January.
Yo.
Like, well, I mean, like in June. It's things that happened in March, and I'm like, damn, that was only in March, and
Yo,
it feels like a year ago.
Hey, like random thought, but I was spring cleaning this weekend. Seriously.
Okay.
And I seen shit from like years ago, and I was like, yo, that was like 5 years ago. Yo, I know online, like the common misconception, or not misconception, but the common thought is like, yo, who's old or whatever, but I'm like, yo, time goes by this quick. You could literally be like 19 and then you turn, like you fucking spin around 3 times and you're 24.
basically.
You get me? So, but anyway, Chance. I gotta give a little,
Grandpa Ak.
Okay.
not
okay.
grandpa, that's
Grandpa
an anecdote. You know what I mean? Listen, I'm aging gracefully too. I'm trying to age gracefully.
Gracefully. Where? I was blow drying a stain on your sweater the other morning, trying to
Right.
pretend like you didn't stain it, and then you
You
got
like you
right
gotta
on
hold
here
it,
and told
bro.
everyone you stained it anyway.
I
You
was-
don't. You do a
I was
lot of things
sipping
great.
tea.
You
I
were
was sipping
not
tea.
graceful.
I was sipping tea.
Right.
By the way, I gotta let y'all know, I love Nadeska.
But-
Nadeska has been like almost like my onset mom at times.
Is this a real compliment? I was waiting for the
That
backhand.
is.
The
No,
backhand
that-
here.
that's a real compliment.
Ak, I love you too. Ak's like my little bro.
Yo, I come
my
in
crazy
with
little bro.
Yo, I'm drip. The drip is disgusting. I come in, I got a white shirt on, and I spill something on, and she helps me clean. Anyway,
Ak is like a nigga that I just had to live with, not by choice, and we trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, he's just like somebody I had to just move in. I had to move
yo,
in
where we get this nigga from, man? Where?
Oh man.
All right. Anyway,
Now, go back to chairs.
All right, back to
Back to
chairs.
chairs.
I have to get a little sidebar. You know, we gotta
right.
get personal with fans. Anyway, I liked one of the 2 songs.
Okay.
I didn't dislike the other one. It just didn't do anything for me. The one with
Joey Perp.
Joey Perp. I didn't. It was okay. The first one, which The Man Who Owns Everything, I really liked. I really liked. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, what the hell is Chance waiting on? I understand this is a packed year. I feel so bad for anyone who's still releasing music. I felt bad for Earl Sweatshirt. I felt bad for Ski Mask. Yo, if you're still releasing music in December 2018 is done.
But the thing
it was
is,
done almost like a
Not for
month
Chance
ago.
though. He's one of those artists that if he drops, everyone else is gonna have to step aside. That's the thing. Or do you disagree?
Hold on.
Well,
Hold on.
I think Chance. Well, because I got something that I want to say about the song. But No, I was telling you to finish because I got something I want to say about this.
Okay. Well, so I guess like I'm waiting for Chance's project, and you reminded me that it's been 2 years. I'm like, fuck, why we haven't gotten some new Chance like album? Not just like a couple of songs, an album. Coloring Book was something that set his career in a trajectory and sparked conversation about independence and all, like we've never seen before. We've gotten some songs. I enjoyed the last 4. I'm one of 2 out of these ones, and I'm looking at it like, yo, why Chance don't drop another like project? But I was also saying that 2018 is done. Like after Meek, we got 21 and X. It's just done. Please, no more. Like just go to 2019. We've gotten too much music. This is the most, and I hope this is a debate one day. This is the most dense year in music.
Yo,
Very right.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, like this year has been, I feel like this year has been a lot of smoke and mirrors because it hasn't been a lot of projects or albums from artists that we wanted from, but like I said, a lot of it's been, I wouldn't say lackluster, but just not the top of their game. And because we've gotten so much, it's people that's like, oh, this is the best year of hip hop. And I'm like, no, it's not, because it's one of the most forgettable years of hip hop.
You think so?
What I mean by that is musically. Like I feel like a lot of these albums we are forgetting about because they don't really mean much to us because they're not good. Like they're okay. It's fun to have something to talk about, but are we really going back to albums that we was talking about in June and May and March and saying, yo, this shit is holding it down?
You might have a point, and we probably should, as we approach the end of the year and we start to do our wrap up and we do our awards, probably like compare this year to other years. But what I do believe, you might have a point with in terms of the quality, but in terms of moments, I don't know.
It's been a lot of moments.
We're only judging on moments.
I know, but it's moments with a lot of music. That's what I'm saying. It's like we've been fucking dumped on with all of this music. It's so much music, and you can't even appreciate it because next week it's another album and another album and another album. So it's like we have music that we have to review. We have music that we have to listen to speak about, but I can't even really sit with shit because here comes the album that everybody else is waiting for, and that one and that one. Right. So it's been a lot. But now back to the song. Yeah. For the record, the man who has everything, I felt this a bit. I don't have everything, but people will ask me what I want for my birthday, and I just want like time. You know what I mean? So I really felt this. I really felt this song because.
This rich ass nigga.
Wait,
right
Stop it.
Humble brag.
It's not a humble brag.
I don't got everything, but I got a lot. Like,
I do have a lot.
Listen,
I'm very grateful, man. I would say I'm very thankful and I'm very grateful, and I do have I have a lot, but
we know you don't take the train, Wayno. We get it. It's just me. It's just me
See
out
why
here
I
on the
can't be
this nigga live in a gated community.
I'm
You
trying
live
to be
next to
serious.
doctors, Magic Johnson, and like 5 other celebrities.
Stop it. But no, but I really felt this record. I felt this. The one with Joey Perp, I felt was cool, but it wasn't to the same level that one, but I don't think that he was intended for them to do the same thing.
Yeah.
The man who has everything seemed a little bit personal.
So do you guys feel like these songs are here just because the album is not ready? Like you said, maybe it's too crowded to drop it this year, but he just wants us to remember because he has a lot of other things going on.
I think that I think that with all the music that's coming out, I think Chance just gets inspired. Like I think he sees, a Meek drop or Baby, because he listens to Chance listens to everybody. If you ever follow him on his like his Insta Snap, he's playing shit that you would never think he'd be playing, and he listens to a lot of people. So I think he's just feeling inspired and putting shit out, not to keep people reminded, but just to say, yo, I'm still here. You know.
You know what? I think Chance is probably the best example of an artist repurposing, even though he was one of the people saying SoundCloud ain't dead. The way how artists would use SoundCloud, which is, yo, you got to feed the streets, quote unquote, right? You throw out a couple songs that people remember. You're not working them because these songs you throw out an EP. None of them songs got worked.
Right.
You get me? And I know we could say he's independent, all that. I get it. But he has the infrastructure that if he wants to work a record, he could.
He could, because those 4 songs, I believe at least one they were playlisted. Okay. At least on Rat Caviar or something. I remember seeing it.
But I still don't think.
Not to the.
Yeah, not to the point like, yo,
push,
this is
like
a single, whatever, let's see what it does. No, I think he's using like Apple and Spotify in the best way to say, you know what? Like, I'm still gonna just throw out songs. They're not singles, but it just reminds you. And I am looking to see like, okay, how is he gonna work this next record? I'm so focused on this motherfucker, you would not believe. I want to see how he's gonna work this record. He's supposed to independent. Is he gonna rock with Apple again? Spotify might get him for some shit. I want to see how he's gonna promote this next project. If you're an independent artist, if you're an artist who has or wants to do shit non-traditionally, this guy's leading the pack. So I want to see how he's gonna promote his next record. And I feel like the way he's dropping these songs almost as like throwaways, not really throwaways, but like, because he dropped 4 before, he dropped two now. I think he's 4 out of 5. There's only one record I'm like, I'm okay with.
And it's cool. Like,
and it's not whack.
It's not bad. It's not whack at all.
It's not whack, right? So I look at that and I'm like, he just wants to keep people reminded that, yo, I'm here. You know, I know y'all getting a lot, but I'm here.
And he's spending. It looks like he's spending a lot of time just with his family. You know, you see him with his daughter a lot, with his fiance. So I think he's just taking some time off for himself. And we always talk about that. Like, you need to just chill a bit. The year when he did drop Color and Book and had no problems and all of that, like, it was a big year for him. So he's just probably just catching up on himself.
Yeah, Ak is right. Whenever he drops this next project, the rollout plan is gonna be crazy.
I believe so.
He'll like buy a whole city and like, no chance, you never know, bro.
I'm watching him so much because, again, I felt like he broke through a mold with Color and Book, and of course we saw what it did. I mean, the Grammys all of a sudden started saying, hey, we'll consider stuff that's dropped on SoundCloud. What? Y'all never did it before, but I get it. He's breaking the mold. So I want to see how he maneuvers now. I feel like the streaming services have dominated, and most people are dropping shit. Now, how do you do a rollout, again, being independent, I'll just put that in quotations, how do you do a rollout as Chance the Rapper, keep that uniqueness and still be progressive? I want to see it.
Too.
I want to see it.
Good question.
And by the way, I don't care what nobody says, I Might Need Security by him on the last EP, one of my favorite tracks. By the way, he samples Jamie Foxx, fucking phenomenal. Love it.
Song.
I remember that one.
All right, Chance, we're waiting. Let's see what happens. So before we get to this will.I.am topic, just real quick, some goodness happening in the world. Game got on Instagram and shared a very long message explaining that he and Meek reconciled. I know, super cute, that they made up a few months ago since Meek called him up after he got out of prison. I can't read the whole message, but he says, as young African-American men, we grew up in similar situations where a lifespan for us was 21 years of age, and that is still the age in which most of us coming from where we come from think we'll never make it. So really dope, and Meek, of course, responded saying, I send nothing but love back your way. Let's lead by example. This is so dope. So he made up with Drake. They had the record together. Him and Game are good right now. It's nice to see this happening.
Yeah, again, the championship, the championship energy. You know, I think because people, I mean, Game and Meek had their problems or whatever. And one thing Game did say is, like, we were friends prior. So he didn't forget that they had a relationship. And I think that now that Meek is in a place where everybody's just championing him because he's going through so much, and it's like we all love the underdog story. It seems like Meek, no matter how high he's reaching, he's always that guy you want to root for. You know what I'm saying? So with Game, that situation could have been really ugly on both sides, and it's good to see that it never came to that, and it's good to see that they moving past it. I mean,
when Meek gonna call me? Cause he calling everybody else. I don't know if he even got a problem. Anyway, yo,
I should call him right now.
Yo, I gotta be honest.
Do it. See if you'll pick up.
I gotta
see
be
if
honest.
you pick up. Somebody give me my phone.
Pass it.
Yo, y'all could do it. Yo,
I'm serious.
I really want to be honest. Man, I've never seen somebody handle and body this whole, I don't even want to call it like almost, I know we mentioned rebrand. I don't want to call it that.
Yeah.
This motherfucker Meek, you could tell genuinely is growth. You heard what Game said. He reached out. He got out of jail, he reached out.
Yeah.
You get me? He reached out. With the Drake situation, even though we're like, oh shit, when this happened, right? It kind of seems sudden. Why in Boston? Seemed genuine. I heard Meek, I'm seeing Meek speak on CNN. Not gonna lie, Meek has grown to a level of maturity that is beyond hip hop. The nigga's a leader. I heard him speak on CNN and he didn't mince words. He didn't stutter. He didn't backtrack. He didn't fucking like say some shit that could be misconstrued. He represented the people like him. And to watch that shit, I'm not gonna lie, I sat there and I was like, this is like, I'm really impressed.
Hey, Nadeska, real quick, I just want to know, no, seriously, I just want to know, so during this year, when you know, cause before Meek is dropping any music and all that, I'm speaking to him. We talking. I seen him a few times. When I'm saying all of these things, right? When I'm saying these things that he's gonna mature and he's gonna put out a really good album, and I'm considering him to be amongst the greats one day and all of that, everybody's acting like I'm fucking crazy.
All right, hold on.
I think those are two different conversations.
It's
in all
a
fairness.
slightly different conversation.
But this is all leading up to that.
Right.
Right.
Hold on.
Right.
Let me also put into perspective. You know, his last album, which I gave praise with, some people like, yo, you think wins and losses is better than, you know what I mean, championships? And again, listen, both are great albums. Meek hasn't dropped a whack album. We have to learn to appreciate great and debate, which means not because I say tomato, you say tomato. You feel me? Like, it's the same fucking thing. Or like, we're still in the same fucking realm. I'm not saying the nigga's whack.
Yeah, of
like,
course.
my preference might be that, your preference might be this. Meek is doing great shit. Now, I remember when he dropped Wins and Losses. I think with him, and like that was the feeling I was getting. I was like, yo, he was saying all the right shit. I don't know if his actions matched.
Okay.
Because I was looking, I was like, you're saying the right. Meek's interviews are always amazing. Like, by the way, I don't know if we ever even shared it. Like, he just did the joint with Elliot Wilson and
The Crown Joint.
the Crown Joint for Title, and it was like he gave the story of like the double date shit, and like that shit was hilarious because it shows how much he's grown. Like he's cracking jokes about it.
So by the way, that's him saying he played back to back by accident on a double date with Jay and Beyonce.
Well, Jay played
No,
it by
Jay
accident.
played it.
He did.
I could imagine Jay was like fumbling over the phone, like, "Oh shit, get it off here."
Nah, but also I think it's like Jay's funny like that.
He would just to troll. You think he
It's
would
funny
do that?
like that.
What
Nah, he's
playlist
funny like
did
that.
Jay have back to back on, man?
Nah, man, listen.
I
he's
thought
funny
Jay
like
was
that.
beefing with Drake at the same time. But
Nah, man, he's funny like that. But I mean, my whole reason, and of course, you know, I do want to be objective to things, but at the same time, I'm also championing my brother, and I know where he comes from, and I've seen what he's going through, and I felt like this was gonna put him in those conversations. And now, like, somebody added me on an article yesterday, and it was Rolling Stone saying that this album not that he's in the top 5 or Mount Rushmore or nothing, but when it comes to making music, it puts him amongst the greats for what he's done. And somebody was like, yo, wasn't you just saying this?
Yeah.
You know?
No, I mean, I feel like there should be no pressure to like make that distinction now. But yeah, the impact that this album is having, right? Everything around it, what Ak is saying, he's a leader, he's growing.
Right.
I think this is what puts him in the conversation as we go down the line to be one of the greatest of all time.
And to finish that point I was making, I think Wins and Losses, even though I felt like he had a chip on his shoulder and I love that music, I don't think his actions matched at that point. I think, like he was still a little frustrated at certain things. You get me? And ultimately we saw what happened. You know, he returned back to jail and whatever. But I think now I'm watching him outside of music. I'm watching him, music aside. I'm watching how he moves. I'm watching how he speaks. I'm watching how passionate he is about not just fucking moving records and selling shit. I'm watching how passionate he is about shit that not only affects him, but affects other people that aren't as privileged as him. And I see him represent that. And from everything I'm seeing right now, this is the 360 view of Meek, where his words is matching his actions. And there's nothing but a hats off salute, Like, I think that's one of the reasons, again, I don't know their relationship, like, behind the scenes. I think that's one of the reasons Drake got to squash beef with him or whatever it is. Yo, you see that this nigga, like, he's moving into that realm of standing for something that's beyond just petty shit.
Right.
And you could do nothing but salute it. The album is great. I can tell he put a lot of time into that. Answered all my questions. Because I was like, let's not get, I don't know, Martin Luther King raps throughout the whole shit. You know what I mean? I want some Meek. He gave us that.
Yeah.
But all in all, I got to say, like, it was amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Real person.
no one brought your phone. You guys thought we were playing, huh?
That's all good.
All right, fine. I guess we could call him later. All right, shout out to Meek. Now, finally, onto this will.I.am topic. All right.
You've been hyping it up. What's up?
Well, not hyping it. I just,
No,
coming from him, I'm just a little bit surprised, I guess, to hear this coming from him.
I'm not.
But in a recent interview with Rolling Stone, will.I.am said that he wasn't impressed with today's hip-hop, saying the game has, quote, become the lowest hanging fruit. So he elaborated, going on to say that he thinks instrumental music will be the next big wave. He says the problem with hip-hop is everybody could do it. It doesn't take much fucking skill right now to make hip-hop. It's no longer about Rakim level, Nas level, not the deep metaphorical simile shit. Out of respect for the Nases of the world, let's not call it hip-hop. Let's say that's rap. but instrumental music is going to be the next biggest shit.
I'm not, listen, I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm not opposed to nothing that he's saying, because I said this shit like at least once every other week, that the bar is set so low to get into it, because I feel like the craft was taken out and it just became a hustle. Or I'm gonna get money, or I can get money just doing this. So let me.
Wayno, people have said that for a long time.
I know, but
Yeah,
are
I
we
mean, just
grouping
we're
in
talking
everyone?
about-
Of course, there's a lot of artists that fit that bill, but there are a lot of artists that do really take the time to rap. Maybe they're not super mainstream, but this is a very broad statement.
Well, to that, and when he's saying like a Rakim level, a Nas level, he's talking about skill set.
What about like a JID who just dropped a great album?
JID, JID has ways to go. Like I'm not discounting what JID's doing, but he's still a very new artist, and he has a lot of work he has to do to be, I wouldn't say just considered in that with those names, but he has a lot of groundwork to do to be appreciated in a world of the first thing you see is the shit that everybody's critical of. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'll bring up 6ix9ine just as kind of an example of how he took music and created so much visibility around it. When people see hip hop, that's the first thing they see. Now, JID, I feel like might have a better talent level when it comes to skill, but he won't be put on that same platform because he doesn't have the same tactics to be seen. Because now everybody's just, what's your Instagram marketing plan?
It's true, but haven't we also had conversations about how some of those people don't actually last, even if it feels hot in the moment? And it's the talented, the lyricists, the people who put time into their craft that 5 years down the line, they're still here?
Some of them, because there's a lot of them that don't get recognition. I mean, from time to time I bring up, West Side Gun, Conway, Benny the Butcher, these type of guys, and they have a certain skill set and a certain skill level, but they don't get the same media attention. And I'm not knocking that. Everybody has their business model of how they have to get hits to sell their ad dollars. But a lot of people who have a really great skill set are not put on the same platforms as people who don't. And the bar is set very, very low for you to just get in the game. It's like, you don't just, No ID said this shit. He's like, you don't just say I'm an electrician and you become an electrician.
Right.
You got to go to school, you got to learn, you got to do everything that it takes to become that. You can't just say that you're that because of that. And with hip hop, it's just like, oh, I rap, I made a song, and I got a lot of hits, so now I'm a rapper, or now I'm a hip hop artist, and it's not the same thing.
It's true. There are definitely a lot of people who do an interview like, how long have you been rapping? Oh, I thought about it 6 months ago and I just started. But
And that's like a cool thing because they're getting money.
I still don't feel like those people last. But yeah, I'm curious what you think. Are we the lowest hanging fruit now, and is instrumental the next wave?
Well, I mean, remind me of a time that hip hop didn't champion the lowest hanging fruit. Like, in hip hop, a lot of times the shit that pops off is the simplest. If we're talking about technical skill, the shit that requires the least amount of technical skill.
Oh, how? In hip hop, like in hip hop history, or more recent?
The shit that becomes trendy and bubbles up, goes viral, whatever you want to call it, is the shit that isn't the most skilled effort. You feel me? And again, if we're talking about longevity, that's different. But if we're talking about what happens, you see, now we live in essentially the microwave era.
Right.
So every 3 months is a different wave. So if you're only judging by what's hot every 3 months, you're gonna have this thought. If you're judging what's gonna last for the next 3 years, or who's been around on the last 3 years, or who's been around the last 5 years, that opinion might change. Because you can't tell me anyone who's been around for 5 years now and they're even more relevant than when they just started, or the second year they just started, than now, without them having some significant skill. I think. Well, so even going back, the Soulja Boys, the fucking little snap little era, those are the little trendy joints that kind of bubble up for a short period of time, and then something else happens. I don't think that's long term.
I mean, I don't think he's referring to just long term. I think that
in hip hop, as opposed to any other genre, what skill is, nobody looks at rock and says, what is skill in terms of rock versus what's a hit in terms of rock. You get me? You just look at it the same thing. If you have skill, you make the hit.
Well, I think
in hip hop, you have the skill, but that might not be necessarily what makes the hit.
I feel that, but I think that because there's not enough balance, right? I think that there's not enough balance. I think that because what we want, like, there's a big difference between what we want to see and what we want to hear, right? Now, again, I'm using 6ix9ine as an example. Every day, people was watching what's going on in his life like it's a fucking, like it's Power. Like every week, we can't wait for the next thing to happen, right? Now, there's music that's really good out there that you could be listening to, but you're more concerned with what's gonna happen with and before he was going through that situation, just every day, like everybody can admit, social media is a little bit taken back since he's been booked, right? Because we're used to getting funny clips or him previewing a new song or something for us to talk about. Now that there's not that and that was just his visibility. We never had a real conversation about 6ix9ine being an artist, right? Like him being a full-on artist because we're into all his antics. I don't think that the scale is set for people to have equal opportunity in that realm, because a lot of press that people could get or they could push to, they're not pushing it to the artist that's making music that lasts, because it's more hits coming from shit that's just crazy.
And again, I agree with that. I'm just saying, I don't think this is like a new phenomenon. Let's go back to Vanilla Ice, like bullshit.
Yeah.
Like in hip hop, what we consider, like
We've always had gimmicks. We've always had gimmicks.
There's always there's that skill level that we respect. That's the core of what this culture, the genre is. And a lot of times, people who become big or popular for a certain period, they don't fulfill that criteria. And you know, maybe now more than ever, you start seeing these guys one after the other, and you might think it's a new phenomenon now. I just felt it's always there. It's always been that disconnect. Like, for example,
it was like 80. It was before. I ain't gonna front act before. Now look, and I can say this, like I grew up.
That's the media.
All right, so I grew up.
That's the media.
Media plays a part, but I grew up in the 90s, like grew up on 90s music in the early 2000s, and of course, there's always been artists that haven't had the same skill level as the top artists. Like, you know, I mean, you had an MC Hammer and you had a Big Daddy Kane, or you had Grand Poobah and what they was doing, and then you had like other people like Vanilla Ice or whomever. You're always gonna get that, but it was more respected for the skill of the craft as opposed to just an antic. And I think that now we just in a place where antics garner so many hits where they can sell whatever show it is, because if you think about it, when you talk about certain artists and what they're going through or whatever, it has nothing to do with music, that's where a lot of hits come from. If we dig into music and all of that, it's like, oh, who really cares about music? That's where we at right now. And I think that's because the bar is set very low for these new guys to just be in the game and be considered right along with a top artist.
I just don't think they're considered along with the top artists. That's the thing.
And
the scene next to them.
Just reframe my position, right? I don't think it's more. So I don't think it's an oversaturation of these guys. I think it's a shift in media, honestly. And quick anecdote. I remember when I was one of the only people who would cover like the Littles. Because honestly, they didn't have that much of a platform. They didn't matter that much. You would have the big publications that would cover the Drakes, the Kanye's, the Kendricks, and if I think we all could agree, when they're covering those people and that level of coverage, it's kind of still skill based, right? Until they realize that the Littles and the new guys, the antics generate clicks, it generates money. And what publications did? Every publication covers Trippie Redd's next breath.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it's gonna get them money.
Right.
And it went from, oh, you have the fringe guys on the media. I was at one point the fringe guy. Like I was the only person you could get the coverage from, the Chief Keefs and the Trippie Redds and the Lil Xans. Now everybody covers them.
Right.
So you see that, like, I know we're saying like the imbalance. But I'm saying it's not with the amount of artists. I'm just saying with the focus. Before we used to just push those people to the side, like, you got to really do something for us to care about you. We care about the Drakes, the J. Cole's, the Ye's, and the Kendricks. Now, if 6ix9ine literally, like, you could look at the most respected media publications in hip hop, right?
Oh yeah, no, they.
If
he sneezes on the floor, it's a story.
If he was in bed with his enemy's girlfriend, oh my God, it's because, you know, it's a lot of clicks.
Right.
And it's the same thing with most of these new guys. And what's being realized is that Instagram, not only is it the new A&R of just all the shit, Instagram also has dictated what the storylines are in hip hop.
Right.
You don't get people like, for example, we talked about Black Thought's album. Man, that shit's a top 5 album to me for this year. If we're only talking about music. Do we see all the media outlets raving about it?
Right.
Fuck no. Because you know why? We'll give it a nice little review one time, but other than that, ain't much shit we could really gain off of this. Let 6ix9ine drop some shit where he's dissing 5 niggas. Let Trippie drop some shit where we could make shit about that all day.
Yeah.
So I do think it's partially.
And that goes into skill level as well. I mean, like within all of that, because you're not really saying things that are wrong. What I say is that I'm not subscribing to the low hanging fruit comment.
Right.
What I am fucking with is that the bar is set very low. Like tomorrow, if I said, yo, I wanted to rap and I put words together good enough, they'd be like, oh shit.
Well, it's because the streaming era has allowed that, right? It's so much easier to put your music on. When would you guys count the beginning of the hyper streaming era?
The past 2 years, like
2 years ago, you'd say it started?
Started with Yachty and Uzi.
Okay.
Yachty,
that's 2
Uzi.
years ago.
Okay, so let's say a couple years. So I was
I
having
think it was like 2014, 2015.
Well, I'll
But
say
whenever Yachty,
hyper.
Like I remember that freshman cover, and I remember like it was looking in the reflection for a lot of people who loved hip hop, and that freshman cover was like, this is not what we think embodies hip hop, but for a magazine and for what was dominating the pulse of just news, that was.
So here's
was
the
the
thing.
Yachty's, the Uzis.
Exactly.
And from there on.
21 was on there, Kodak.
Yeah, 21, Kodak. And from, even, I think Denzel Curry was on it too, but
he
still.
was, yeah.
From that on, from there on, it felt like hip hop was moving in the direction of following the guys who got attention more than, like, the fans finally got the steering wheel. It was at one point where editorially, if you are a music critic and you supposedly good shit, you value lyricism, you could set the agenda like, yo, we talking about this fucking Black Thought album or shit we focusing on, well, of course Meek is getting a lot of it, but like think somebody else who hasn't gotten a lot of attention. We're focusing on this. Now the media outlets and everybody around it, we just follow what the fans are talking about.
Right.
So if they're hypnotized by Instagram, the media outlets are hypnotized by Instagram. The power has been lost to set the agenda that people focus on.
And so here's the question. I was talking to Carly Hustle about this over at Beach. She had an interesting point. So in this hyper streaming era, so there's the set of stars, there's like the Drake, the Kendricks, the Shawns who came before it. In this hyper streaming era, how many of these kids do you think are gonna be actual stars that have longevity? Versus people who are hot for right now. That's the thing. To Wayno's point, it feels like it's easy to enter. It's easy for you to get in and drop an album. You're dropping 5 albums a year, but it doesn't mean we're gonna care in 2 years. So how many of these kids from the hyper streaming era do you see having a legacy of like a Drake or a Kendrick down the line?
And by the way, that's another point to think about. So everything I was saying, I don't want to just throw everything on the media. That streaming shit helps. Because, in hip hop, go back to 2003. Nobody gives a fuck what a 15-year-old says. If you look at radio, they only care about the niggas who spend money, people who have jobs. So you got to be at least a certain amount of.
And that's why you have to, around 2003 is why you have to attach yourself to a Rough Riders or Rockefeller or Murder Inc. Because when they dominate, when the crews are dominating what the kids think, that's how they're pushing all their artists, right? So you have to attach yourself to a brand that can push you through. It's not really independence around this time.
Yeah, but if you think about that, right? Because the whole mindset of just music and just advertisement changed. Advertisement still controls music, right? We don't give a fuck about what a 14-year-old thinks. Nigga, go find whoever the Akademiks is of 2003 and go find your little friend shit. This is the mainstream shit because the people who are 25 to 34, or 18 to 34, they enjoy this. They gonna buy tickets, they gonna buy CDs. 14-year-old not buying no CD. That shit got completely changed by the streaming era. A 9-year-old streaming a song is just as important as a 35-year-old. So now when shit is so dominated by streaming, it's like, okay, we flip the shit on top of his head. It's not only this demographic kind of dictates. So look at the streaming, the most streaming artists, if we look at the top 10. Yeah, you see the Drakes. Yeah, you see the Kendricks. then you see like Lil Pump and 6ix9ine. You get me? Fucks everything up. It fucks everything up because it's the kids are putting those artists in there among the other artists that you already respect for skill level.
Well, I don't.
And you think they're gonna ride with those kids for the next 5 years?
No,
I don't
keep
think they're
supporting
gonna. I
them?
don't think a lot of them gonna last 2 years.
Yeah, I'm not saying longevity, but if you take a snapshot, and we'll see, like Spotify will soon put out their like stats. Apple Music will like, yo, the top streamed artists of this year, and you're gonna look at it, and you're gonna be like, yo, who's listening to him?
Well, you know what's so.
But your son might be.
Yeah, but you know what's so ill about that is I think that the streaming era really shows like the tortoise and the hare, right? It's really the tortoise and the hare era, and what I mean by that is like, cause you could jump out the gate, you could come out the gate, boom, I got 4 million plays, 10 million plays, all these plays, but if you can't sustain and you can't last, then nobody's gonna be talking about you. And I think like a JID, yeah, his shit is not gonna come out and everybody's not gonna get it. But as he builds, he's gonna last. But that was just how J. Cole built.
Right.
But J. Cole built his fan base amongst kids who went to college, right? And as these kids became adults and no, seriously.
You think it's just college kids? Wayno, fuck.
Well, no, it was
I know Fannie Mae,
definitely
Mae.
college kids.
It was college
know.
kids.
Nigga, I was in college and that nigga had my whole campus empty.
No, but look,
when he did a concert
think,
like
as
Close
these people grow, and I look at it how, like, honestly, like how Jay did it. Like when Jay did it, as he grew and as he went through different things, his subject matter changed.
Because Reasonable Doubt, when that dropped, he wasn't getting the accolades.
Yo,
it is now. People weren't even fucking with it that hard.
They was, I mean, they
Well,
were, but they
so,
at
but
that
not
time,
to the level that it's respected now.
Biggie was still alive when Reasonable Doubt
Yeah.
came out. Tupac died that year. And like, Jay was like an afterthought almost. Then they went back and was like, oh shit, this guy's pretty good. They went back and reviewed his album and then gave him 5 mics.
Right.
Then Biggie died and then he, goes on his path. But I feel like what Jay did was he built and he grew with his audience. In order to last and sustain, like, of course, I'm not looking for Little Pump to fucking not be Little Pump. But he's gonna have to grow in certain instances, and that might be him doing silly ass movies that he does, the same type of music that he does. He might have to start getting into acting and doing silly ass movies, and that helps him sustain a career. So, how many years is Lil Yachty in now officially? Like maybe 3 or 4.
Yachty's in like 3.
Yachty's in 3. Now Yachty's people still not complain. People been stopped complaining about the red hair. That was the first thing, like, oh my God, a dark-skinned kid with red hair. Now people are respecting his business acumen because they seeing this little motherfucker make the Forbes now. He's 21, he's growing up, he's still having fun with his music, but he's kind of changing his sound, and his fans are gonna continue to grow with him. So from out of that era, I feel like Yachty's gonna be one of the ones that last. But it's really tortoise in the hair right now. You could come out the gates going crazy, but you could run out of gas quick too.
I don't think the low-hanging fruit always survives.
Yeah.
A few years, more than like a couple years.
Right.
Hey, and just to sum it up, restate my points again. I agree and disagree with will.I.am. I just don't think it's a new phenomenon for current hip hop. The media and streaming has flipped this shit upside down, and we're gonna see this for some while. The silver lining is longevity.
Yeah, I agree. They can't last. All right. See, I told you guys this was going to be a good topic.
That was a good topic.
Who disagreed though?
I think we're out of time though. We can't do any more quick hits. Ak, were
Right.
you one of those kids in school when you wrote an essay, the last paragraph was always like in summary, like you couldn't figure out another way to close?
No.
You seem like that kind
I'm
of dude.
reading YouTube comments and they're like, this nigga said it the same thing like 20 times. So like after I went on my little spiel, I just did one little sentence to saying that's my position.
I got like
Summary.
every day.
I'm trying to
Here's
make
an
sure.
anecdote.
Hey, I'm just trying to make sure the comment section rocks with me. Okay, I know what
Oh
I'm
my
talking
God.
about.
Comment section is
Because I
brutal.
can imagine, yo, what happens? Niggas
brutal.
pull up everyday show, they just scroll down, they read other people's comments, they see somebody's comment, they just like it and say the same shit. Like, y'all be doing the same shit, but I'm trying to get better.
Hilarious. All
Trying
right,
to get
y'all.
better.
Thank you for watching. We are back here for 2 more shows, right? Today's Tuesday?
Yes.
We'll see you guys tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. on Complex.